What is the culture? I hear it now so often. Oh, that's the culture. Oh, that ain't culture. And every time I hear culture, I think of the Migos album and Offset and Cardi B's Kid. Forgive me, but that's what I hear when I hear people talk about the culture. But I know what they're truly talking about is black culture. And oftentimes they say these things, and I go, can't relate. But if that's what we're saying, then let's go for it, you know? But like, while I got this band from TV playing in the background, I'm gonna get to some Nori tweets, because I think these Nori tweets are very important because he's talking about the culture. And if you get nothing from this segment, I want you to understand that trying to put black culture into one box and make it one thing is wrong on you. Like, I really want you to know that, like, because some of these things that I'm going to talk about and what's talking about the culture, I can't totally relate to that culture because it's not my lived experience. But I will tell you, it doesn't make me more or less than. But let's get to it. No, that's not the one I want to see. Here we go. I've been the best of this culture. I've always put hip hop first, and I see you guys go to Ellen and Dave Letterman and Zane Lowe's and treat them with more respect than the culture. But you say you want black excellence. I'm gonna be honest. Even going to Oprah or Gail, it's trash at this point. We control our own culture. Why go outside of it? He said in, but I'm pretty sure he meant on. I'm just going to assume that there. David Letterman is my favorite, but man, why go there or Ellen before $1 million worth of Game or Joe or the Champs or even Twitter shit? And so I read all of that and I go, okay, you're bitter, you're upset, but let's get down to the crux of what's going on here. You see people who you would like to interview go to different platforms and do interviews instead of doing them with you. On the surface, you go, okay, they're trying to diversify their audience. So they're already accepted in hip hop. They already do well in hip hop. Why in the hell would I go do a hip hop? Why would I do an interview on a hip hop platform? I'm trying to cross over to a mainstream platform, a daytime TV platform, a nighttime TV platform that spans further and is more diverse than your platform. That's just my initial thought. And then as I play with it a little bit more everybody who says they're about black excellence are not about black excellence. They're about their own black excellence. And so many of us have been brainwashed to believe that black excellence is acceptance into white excellence. It's like, oh, I finally made it. Nigga, we made it, right? So when that is the bar that you set, you go that David Letterman is the bar, right? When you have that thought, it's like Ellen DeGeneres. Nigga, we made it. Instead of going to $1 million worth of Game, the Drink Champs, Joe Budden's podcast, hell, even the Breakfast Club, even though that's not owned by us, but nonetheless, you go to these bigger platforms. But I can never knock the artist for wanting to go have more people hear their voice. And I think that's part of what Nori's missing. And Nori talks about how what he's done for the culture and how artists have treated him and this, that, and the third. And he talks about that no one's bigger than the culture. True. But what if you're trying to make your message bigger than the culture. Because if you're saying that no one's bigger than, I said that's true. That's not true. Fuck that. Beyonce's bigger than the culture. Jay-Z's bigger than the culture. Rihanna, bigger than the culture. Cardi B, now bigger than the culture. Kanye, bigger than the culture. Okay? You know why? Because they're multicultural. It's not just the culture that they're a part of, right? They are part of the culture, but they also go tap into this culture and that culture and that culture. That's why they go to Letterman. That's why they go to Ellen. And everybody isn't the Jay-Z draw. Everybody's not the Beyonce draw. Everybody's not the Kanye draw that no matter where they go, they get a number, okay? So I understand where Nori's coming from, though, because I'd be like, dang, bro, y'all could come big up our platforms, right? Go talk on our platforms and give them the same information, if not more information, because guess what? These people were here with you before you had a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. They were supporting you when they were up and you were on the come up. But then I asked the question, well, who's behind them? Who's pushing the message? And you sit here and you go, oh, well, they're signed to this label who has an agreement with this company whose friend is running that company. You go, okay, it makes sense. We're all scratching each other's backs, and the artist gets what they need. They get the publicity that they need. They get the numbers that the label needs, and their friends get the hits, the interviews. I mean, the clicks, the ads, all of that stuff to get the money that they need. And you go, oh, makes sense. That's why you're banned from TV, Nori. And again, not literally banned from TV, but because what you want to happen is you want to see people who are part of the culture unionize and come together under one set of views. But the thing is, we don't have one set of views. And I can never knock somebody for trying to expand their horizons, expand their listener base by going and talking to people who are different. I think that you should go sit down with Nori. I think you should go sit down with Joe Budden. I think you should go sit down with $1 million worth of game. I enjoy those platforms. But I'm not going to knock you for going to sit down with Bill Simmons. I enjoyed Katie's conversations with Bill Simmons. I enjoyed what's my man Freddie Gibbs on Bill Simmons. I enjoyed Gucci Man on Bill Simmons, right? So to act like you can't go to places to expand what you're doing because you got to take care of the culture, I'm not with that. But what is the culture? Because when I think about what the culture is, we talk about hip hop culture and we try to blend hip hop culture with black culture, but we have to understand that everybody who is a part of black culture is not a part of hip hop culture. I was not raised in a house on hip hop culture. Now, I was raised in hip hop culture because of I was outside sometimes, and sometimes we're gonna come back to that. But I was outside sometimes, so I became a product of hip hop culture. And then as I got older and older, I became more of a hip hop fan, more of a person who was enveloped in hip hop culture. But guess what? Some of that stuff, they be like, oh, that's the culture. No, that ain't my culture. That's not my culture. It may very well be your culture, but understand, you don't speak for me. You don't speak for me because guess what? I didn't come from the streets. I'm not a criminal. I'm not a hood figure. I don't abide by those rules. I don't live that lifestyle. So some things y'all talk about, I can't relate. I don't want to. I got Gucci Man next to Stanley, right? I relate way more to Stanley than I do to Gucci Man. Because see, Stanley is the token black person in the office who has to deal with a bunch of stuff that he don't rock with, but he understands that he's put himself in this position to where, you know what, he's doing well for himself, making good money and all of that stuff, you know. And I understand Stanley. I've been Stanley. Hell, I am Stanley in my day job. Gucci Man? Him right there? Oh, no, what's that? What's that? There we go. There we go. Him right there? That ain't me. Can't relate. Never sold a brick. Never seen one. Never hit a lick. Don't want to. Never been to jail. Never been to prison. Ain't going. I'm a law-abiding citizen. Never snitch. Ooh, boy. Don't commit no crime around me that I didn't commit, because, let me tell you something. You're going to jail. Hold up, you baby! Hold up, you baby! I'm a civilian. I ain't choose that life. So I'm not going to act like I lived it. But sometimes I think what happens is that we try to make criminal culture and street culture black culture. And it's not. It may be part of black culture, but it's not black culture. It is not the culture. And if we continue to do that, that's what's gonna happen. And hey, Nori, you know what? Maybe people don't want to go to drink champs because they're not trying to get shitty drunk. Maybe people don't want to go to $1 million worth of game because they don't like the platform. Maybe people don't want to go talk to Joe because Joe don't want to talk to them. Maybe people would rather go talk to Oprah, rather go talk to Gail, because guess what? They do a good interview. And we get back to what is the culture? What is the culture of black media? Because so often what is popularized in black media is street shit. It's street culture. That's not our only culture. And when you listen to some of these interviews with people who are not of street culture, you go, all right, bro, it's boring. It's a boring interview because you got people talking about stuff that they don't relate to, or you got people trying to, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Now, I would have, you know what I mean? And no, I don't know what you mean, because I would have done it, and that's not my life. That's not the life that I profess to live. That's not the life that I want to live. And honestly, I don't want to be around people who are living that life. Call me crazy, but I'm not a criminal. That's what y'all call the culture.